What's up, everybody? We are here for another episode of Now You Know, presented by Island Auto Group. Today, we are joined by a couple very special guests. One of them is one of the co-owners of Island Auto Group, Marcello Sciarrino, who we had on another episode. And the other one, is near and dear to my heart, but just because I love pizza, Mike Burke from Danino's, which is an establishment in Staten Island going back to basically the 1800s, I mean, technically, they came over in 1887. I read the whole history.
Jeremy did his homework.
Yeah, I did my homework.
It.
Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, real quick, what we do here is we talk about people's stories, their come-ups, just different little tidbits. And you have one of the most iconic brands on Staten Island. I'm sure you know that. Have went viral for a lot of stuff. We've done stuff together in the past as well. Very charitable guy, so we'll get into that. Marcello, you guys are friends as well.
Yep.
I believe you guys play some golf together sometimes too, which is fun. So we should all potentially do that.
We try.
But I want to just get into really quick. Tell us kind of your story, where you grew up, where you came from, etc.
So I grew up in Mariners Harbor, basically till I went to high school, and then we moved to Sunset Hills, and from there I moved to Lighthouse Hill now over there. But we were always close to Danino's. Couldn't move too far away. You had to be 5 minutes away from work.
Pizza's a religion.
That's
you have
it.
to be around it, right?
It was definitely a cult. We had dinner at 4:45 because we had to be at work at 5.
Yeah. So did you work at Danino's growing up?
Yeah. So I've been there 38 years now.
Wow.
So I started when I was 11, 12, washing dishes, doing menial jobs, sweeping up. And then once I hit grammar school, I would walk from IS 51. I worked at Coburn's Pharmacy, my cousin's place on Crystal and Forest. And then
Everybody
from there, I would walk
seems
to
to work
Danino's.
at like a pharmacy or like a stock. Every single person. Marcello did it. Mike
You got to
did it.
start somewhere. Jeremy.
Everybody always is like a stock
And we never
person.
had a drug problem. Go figure. We worked in the pharmacy, and there was never an epidemic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's only today, right? Unfortunately. Yeah. Okay, so you worked there. And then when did you actually, from the pharmacy, when did you go to Danino's?
So then I would walk after, doing all the stocking and vacuuming. 5 o'clock, I would go work at Danino's till about 9 o'clock. Then I go home, do my homework, sleep, and Groundhog's Day.
How old were you when you were working there?
So I was 13 when I was in the pharmacy in Danino's. I was working 3-4 days a week.
Wow.
So 13, 14, I was working 3-4 days a week. Both 1-2 days at the pharmacy and then 3-4 days at the restaurant.
Were you making pizza? I mean, what were you doing?
Not yet. I was
just
making
make pizza.
Yeah,
I mean, you
you
gotta work
start at
your
the
way up to
bottom,
make a pizza.
mopping the floors,
I'm
making
not behind the scenes here.
appetizers. Back then, we only made 2 sandwiches, scungil, and that was it. And then pizza. So then, probably 15, I started making pizza.
Wow. So can you still make a pie?
Oh yeah. So every time we open a restaurant, I wind up working in the kitchen for a month or 2.
Do you really?
Making pizza.
So California, you worked in the kitchen there for
Yeah,
a
it
little?
was 2 months in California.
Wow. So what is the history, though, behind Danino's? Like, obviously, I read about it online. I know some stuff just from talking to you. But Carlo Danino he's
That's
the
my
founder?
stepfather. So
Okay.
in 1923, his father came over and started it. Well, he started the soda shop confectionery where the original building is.
Okay.
Which is our party room now. Then they put the pool table in. And in 33, when Prohibition was repealed, they added alcohol. And then in 37, they took the building next door and put the bar. We had a full bar, and they started serving food. And then in 51, we started serving pizza.
Wow. Okay. So 51, and it was his idea to bring pizza?
So when he came home from the Navy, and then his father had passed, he had a friend said, "Why don't you put pizza?" And they started the pizza, and it really caught on.
It's all downhill from there.
Because it was a neighborhood place. You had the cops or firemen getting off their shift. They'd be there in the morning having a couple eye openers. Guys would come for lunch. It was always, you had dock workers to city workers to executives.
Sure.
The crowd is always mixed there.
And in terms of the pizza, did he just start with a plain pizza? Were there toppings back then? I really don't even know.
Plain pie and maybe 1 or 2 toppings, and then you added a couple, and then he had added the garbage pie because of the dump.
That's a famous one.
It was basically everything except the kitchen sink. That's how he used to say it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty awesome. So then were you working for that business this whole way through, or did you do something else and then go back to the business? How did that work?
So I always did 2 jobs.
Okay.
Because, my sister and my brother there, so
that,
we always
kids?
had some extra
Huge
time
ups.
off. And then I tried stocks for a little while with my brother. Just can't sit behind the desk. We can't be held down.
I get that from you.
And then I took the fire department in 99.
Okay.
And I became a fireman. And then...
That's a wild time to become a fireman, huh?
Yeah.
So you were around for everything?
Yes, I was there before.
Wow.
So.
That's wild. And then when did you go full-time, basically, to Danino's?
I was always full-time, 5 days a week. It's fire
So
department.
you were
work at
working fire
24.
department, and then you would go to
Full-time,
Danino's.
yeah.
You never stopped working at Danino's?
No, my wife was not happy in those times. I would do a 24, go to the restaurant, back to the firehouse. So it was tough. She had, basically raised the kids a lot on her own. She was young at the time. We were both young, but...
These stories are all pretty similar, huh, Jeremy?
Yeah, they really are.
Every story is hard work, right? And,
That's it.
People always say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I think the secret to this is it's really hard work. It's like, when other people won't want to do it, you do it.
Yeah.
And I think, I have a saying in life is 5% luck, 95% hard work. Everybody gets 5% luck. It's the 95% hard work that gets in the way of everything. So
it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's
you have
great
to
to
make
hear.
sacrifices, though, right?
Yeah,
Make the sacrifice in the beginning, and hopefully it pays off in the end.
Did you enjoy working there?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Still do.
Yeah.
Especially when we open a new place, it's like starting all over again, meeting new people, and it's invigorating.
So for you, obviously like a firehouse is also a place of camaraderie and everyone hanging out a lot. Obviously there's a lot to do, but the point is there's a similarity to being at, a bar or that type of scene, right? Where everyone's hanging out, talking, getting to know one another. Does that, those go hand in hand for you?
100%. The fire department was an insane
how many pizzas
job.
you think they ate there a night?
I can't even imagine.
I was going to ask it, but
how
I'm
many
all
free
embarrassed.
pizzas?
I actually gave them a set of ovens when we renovated, and they had the pizza ovens in the firehouse.
Do they really?
Yeah, there's
Are
two
they still
firehouses
cooking
that
them?
have yeah.
That's amazing. You give them the recipe too?
We give them the dough, and then they make it.
Wow, that's funny. You ever walk in there, you're like, this is not a Danino's pie.
Nah, some of them are getting good. They're getting good. I'm getting nervous. I might have to hire
My
them.
neighbor was a firefighter, and it was I thought it was coincidence. He was the best barbecue on the block.
Really?
It wasn't even close. We would have barbecues, and I'd have my little barbecue going. He'd come over and laugh at me.
Oh my God.
They seem to do a good job cooking.
There's some real good cooks on that job.
I guess it makes sense though, right? They know how to temperature control.
Listen, I used to like to cook because you eat what you want to eat.
Right.
So
Right.
Other guys that don't cook and they're making slop, and you're like, oh, better off just cooking.
That's funny. So in terms of so now take us through Carlo Danino. How long was he there for?
So he was there. He had passed away in 2000, and that's basically when we had to really step up, and we had did a renovation.
Is he there every day still?
Yeah, he would pop in and out. Always checking in. He loved being there too, seeing people.
How old was he, Mike, when he passed?
He was 77 when he died. He passed away on the golf course.
Did he really?
Yeah, third hole at Cream Ridge.
Oh my God. Heart attack?
He loved it. Yeah.
That's horrible.
And he was with guys from the fire department, and I was coming home from a night shift, and they called.
That is
said,
horrendous.
Basically right on the golf course.
Wow.
That's the way he wanted to go. He would never wanted to be in the hospital or
that's
sick.
the best place to go if you're gonna.
Yeah.
And so obviously he dies, and is it your brothers? Who
brother-
takes over that business?
My mother, my brother, my sister, my stepbrother, stepsister, but we've been brother and sister forever. So, and we basically did that. And then a couple of years later, my brother wanted to open in New Jersey, so he opened in Aberdeen, Matawan, because he lived out there and it made it easier. And then
So
my
like the
sister,
Jersey Shore over there?
he's a little closer. He's Monmouth County.
Okay.
What
And
year is that?
That was 2008 or 9. He opened that. And then 2010, we opened in Bricktown down the shore.
Okay.
And 2015, we opened in Manhattan.
Yep.
And then
that Manhattan location got a big score from Portnoy.
yeah, they did very well.
That
They
was
do
a
a great
big one.
job up
Some
there.
people think that's original, like the Manhattan one. I love that the Staten Island one.
it's
is
funny,
original.
actually.
That's because there are other pizzerias that
100%.
There are
originated
100 years out there.
originated in Manhattan and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
came
yeah.
out to the boroughs. I love that this one was on the borough, which is amazing.
I mean, the same thing with like a Joe and Pat's, right?
Yeah.
Kind of originated here,
Same
then went
thing.
to like a Ruby Rosa over there.
Yep.
It's just great to see like there's definitely some places out here that just hold that like stronghold on history,
it's
especially
funny.
pizza history.
Everyone thinks like you're in competition, nobody likes each other. Meanwhile, we all get along. We're all friends. If we need something, we give it back and forth. We take care of each other. That's basically what we do. People start these rivalries and
Yeah, that's all nonsense.
you
We
know.
get it in the car business.
Same
And like
thing.
all the guys that own dealerships out here, I'm friends with them. Like, a couple weeks ago, the guy who owns Nissan, something went down in his store and he's like, I need something. I'm like, it's yours.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that's,
Yeah,
people think
totally.
there's competition, but I always think competition's good, right?
Yep.
The more good places there
You
are,
need
the more people to
competition.
come, right?
You need
It creates, and people think, like you said, like, oh, you and the guy from Joe and Pat's are arch enemies. Like, why would that be?
So we're not going to do the cage fight with Dana Ford?
I mean, we know who would win, but no, we're not going to do it. No disrespect, but we know how it's going down. So
Staten Island seems to take care of each other in all aspects.
So the one thing that I've talked about with other people too is it seems like a very family oriented, community first type of place. I mean, Marcel's involved in 50 charities, doing a ton of stuff all the time. I'm getting a different thing emailed to me every day about we have to get this, and this going. You're obviously involved in a charity. I am as well, Kids for Kids, and I'm sure you're involved with the hospital too, I believe you said.
I'm on the board
so,
for the hospital.
Everybody who seems to be, a success story seems to really want to give back to Staten Island and just charity in general, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
So I've grown to like Staten Island. I did not like Staten Island. I was
you
never
didn't like
here.
it because of the commute.
I was never here. Right. Well,
Right.
that's still true, by the way. The commute is brutal. But I didn't like it because I wasn't here. Like, I have no clue. I didn't even know what it was, honestly. I know it sounds silly. I would drive through it to get to certain places. But then once I started coming here, I would, look at Will, who, produces this, and we'd be like, wow, this place is actually, cool and normal, and everyone seems friendly, and it's a nice place. So I can understand, raising a family here and building businesses here. It's a good place to be.
That would be me going into Brooklyn.
It's the same thing.
My grandparents came from Italy right to Staten Island. They bought their first house 2 blocks from where they lived. We never really had a reason to leave Staten Island. When I went on the fire department, I started in Bensonhurst.
Yeah.
So we would have to go into Manhattan for Memorial Day or for Metal Day. I never rode a subway. They're like, you've never been on a train? I'm like, no, Staten Island doesn't have trains. We ride our bikes or we walk.
Right.
You know?
It's really more like a town than a city, know?
I think to your point, Jeremy, about what I grew up in Brooklyn and we moved here, close to 20 years ago. And what I think is unique about Staten Island, is the community. It's like no other. It's like a big city with a little city feel. I mean, listen, Staten Islanders are opinionated and they have a lot to say, but when things go down, I will say Staten Island's different than any other place. Like, I knew if I called Mike or any other business owner and said, hey, I'm supporting this, it's like, yes. And I think that's what makes Staten Island unique. Yeah, exactly.
What do you need?
Yeah,
that's the answer everybody gives.
Yeah,
what do you need?
You ever see? You remember the movie The Town?
Yep.
He comes up to me and says, "I don't want you asking questions, but we got to go take care of something." And the guy says, "Whose car are we taking?"
Exactly.
That's like Staten Island.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone gets together when,
Yeah.
when things go bad. I mean, you saw it during Sandy.
Definitely.
You definitely see
COVID.
it, COVID, a perfect example.
Yeah.
And with the hospitals, we have 2 hospitals on Staten Island. Like, we have to have 2 hospitals on Staten Island. It's important to Staten
Actually
Island.
should have one more.
Yeah,
Really?
absolutely. Well,
We
used
do
to
have the third, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's,
We used to have a city hospital, and they closed that, and now you really just have Staten Island University and Richmond University.
Is Richmond a Northwell? Is that a
No,
No,
Northwell is
Northwell is
Staten Island
Staten Island.
University.
Oh, that's
and
university.
people don't realize that, and I didn't realize till I got on the board, like Staten Island Hospital, Northwell, is doing the city job and not getting paid for it. So they do dental on mentally handicapped or disabled people. They do once a month, I believe they have to close down a part of the hospital.
for free?
They have to do it, and that's things that people don't realize that, they really are helping the community. So that's why when something comes up for the hospital, it's good to support them also.
So let's talk pizza for a second, okay? So Danino's, great pizza, obviously. The question that I have for you is, if you could never eat Danino's again, what is the one pie on Staten Island in particular, that you would eat?
That's a hard question.
Yeah, this show is made of hard questions.
It's going to get a bunch of text after this.
It's okay.
question.
You know what's funny about
Why
it?
not me?
I love Sicilian pie. We don't make it in Staten Island. I make it in Jersey, but I would probably take the L&B style Sicilian pie or Brothers Sicilian.
Wow. I've never had Brothers.
He's got a good Sicilian.
Brothers is an underestimated
Yes.
pizzeria.
Is it really?
Yeah.
We always grew up with them.
Yeah, we always, when the kids would do CYO, we'd always go to Brothers, like right afterwards, and they always had really, really good pizza.
I remember the first time I came here, I went to Danino's. That was the first place I went, and then you guys told me to go to Lee's, and I had a pie from there. It was okay. It was good, you know. And then I went to Joe and Pat's because I love Ruby Rosa. And now recently somebody told me to go to Giove. Is that Giove?
Yeah, that's Brothers. That's the same
Staten
thing.
Island has no shortage
okay.
of
That's
good pizza.
Brothers.
It's a more gourmet.
How's that pie?
It's good. You know, I've only had it in the box, so
Okay.
I won't ever
gotta have a
judge
fresh
anything
pie.
in the box because you got to
Yeah.
eat it there.
I mean, you can't
all
go
the
sit
time.
down there. I mean,
Yeah. Can you go sit down there?
I mean, you could.
Yeah, they have a
but it
couple
wouldn't
of
look good,
tables.
you know.
No, I'm saying,
Danino's.
would you be okay to sit down there?
I go in all the time. You know, it's hysterical. I go into Lee's.
Yeah.
And I'll sit down and it costs me about $300 because I'm picking up checks. Because I see my customers like, what are you doing here? I says, what are you doing here? I says,
I'm
I
the
can
one
eat
asking
something
the
different.
questions.
I'm going to pick up your check to make sure you come back.
That's funny.
And Diego laughs. They laugh with
You're
you
over
know,
there
we're good
doing
friends with them,
promotions.
too.
Okay,
You know, I was
amazing.
thinking about you talking about pizza, like not like giving away secrets, but what's like the Danino secret? Why is your pizza better than the competition? What do you do different?
We just we're different. So everybody's different. Our thing is, you know, very simple. The dough's simple. We don't add sugar.
Well, bring this pie over, Will.
And stuff. But the crispness, you know, the bottom of the pie is very crisp. So when we go to a new town, people have to get used to the pie's not burnt, it's crispy.
Yes.
So if you like your pie half cooked, I tell them.
If the guy calls the
Cook it.
pie burnt, you throw him out.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no burnt. I mean,
Years ago,
a slice out of these, everyone. Let's just take a bite of Danino's real quick.
Carly used to say,
I got to move
go
my
up the
mic here a
street.
little. So, all right, we'll take a little bite out of one. Throw it down.
Now this is sitting in the box for half hour.
Nah, it doesn't matter. You know, when I first met my wife, you'll laugh. She used to come home at night and eat pizza, and she would put mayo on it.
Mayo?
Mayo, cold pizza with mayo.
We can't have that,
And I
Mike.
was like, that's just wrong. Like, there's something wrong with that.
Look at this pizza, though. Is this cornmeal on the bottom or is this breadcrumbs? What is this?
That's the secret.
You're not going to tell me.
It's breadcrumbs.
It's breadcrumbs?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't care if it's cold.
that's you hear that? Get into the crunch for a second.
That's why we never, there you go. We never delivered. We never did any of that because we wanted everybody to have it fresh out of the oven. You know.
What are we working with here? Some grande cheese, a little mix? A little
got it.
grande palio mix?
Palio mix.
There you go. You see how... This is a pizza palette, Marcello. Okay?
Forever. All these guys come in, oh, we got this new blend. It's cheaper. And I'm like, no,
I got to tell you,
we're not changing anything.
every time I have Danino's, and I don't know what it is, there's just something different. I don't know if you feel the same way. Even the mouth feels different. When you bite into it, it has this like creaminess, right? But you get the crunch of that crust.
That's the
Danino's
cheese.
is a phenomenal pie.
Thank you.
no
That was a
doubt.
phenomenal
Thank
pie.
you for bringing us some. We didn't
Yeah,
even
that's real.
expect that.
That was
That was
awesome.
like a bonus.
That was
We
a
got
bonus.
little pizza.
That's it.
You know, I mean, Danino's is growing. Like, why are you growing now? Like,
So
I
the,
thought in
the
California,
family's growing.
right?
I got a lot of
California.
people in California who go to Danino. One of my good friends posted about Danino's the other day, and what is it?
Thousand Oaks.
Thousand Oaks.
Yeah.
He wrote on it. This is one of the
Pizza,
best pies
I
I've
gotta
ever
tell you,
had.
Pizza is the same.
Really?
You know, I couldn't
What about the
believe-
water?
Yeah, I
say,
wanna
like,
know about that
even
too.
like Jersey, they say
Yes.
it's the New
So
York
the water stinks in New Jersey, right?
you
Down
bust the
where we
water
are,
in?
down the shore. We would bring it in for 5 years. And then they had that New York water maker. We use that. The filtration system makes the water like my tap water in Staten Island.
Does it really?
So that
you brought that to
system
Cali
helped us
too.
there. Cali, I tested the water. They spent thousands sending, shipping me water, and we were making dough with it. And it's funny because the true test, one Good Friday, which is the Super Bowl of pizza, I ran out of dough because I had a stack.
Okay.
So you were
California.
shipping dough there.
No, I was taking their water and testing it here to make sure it was the same.
Gotcha.
I used the dough, and no one knew it was the California water. So I says the water's fine. But there are certain
And that
counties
wasn't the beer speaking.
that would no.
Wow.
There were certain counties in California where we'll need the water system, but where they are, Thousand Oaks,
Totally fine.
perfect.
And you would say that pizza, to Marcello's point, tastes the same as
Exactly.
this pizza.
Exactly.
I guess I'm interested in it. Like, how did you start to expand? Like, all of a sudden, you know, you have obviously a super successful pizzeria. If you've been to the one on Staten Island, I mean, I say hurry up and wait.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you're waiting to eat, and you're just excited to get there.
So excited.
I mean, like, what all of a sudden you walk up and said, you know, I want more pizzerias? Because as an entrepreneur, I love to hear stories of how you expand.
And as a pizzapreneur, I love to hear more about pizza.
You just
So
want the pizza.
when I retired from the fire department in 2010, a friend of mine had a building in New Jersey and said, would you ever open another place? And he says, take a ride. We went and looked, and just out of my head, I saw where everything was. The pizza ovens fit with 3 inches on each side in this one wall. Built the kitchen out. I'm
Just
like,
interrupt the
this is
ovens.
perfect.
What kind of ovens do you use? I mean,
I
I
use
know
the
it's a
Baker's
big
Pride.
conversation in New
Best
York.
oven.
Baker's Pride.
So you
deck
don't
ovens.
use coal, none of that. Like
No.
there's a big conversation.
I use gassed brick oven.
I think it's an more even cook. I do prefer them. I must
No, but I
say.
just know in New York City, there's a big controversy
Oh, my
right now.
God.
Like these guys who do
Carbon
cook with coal,
emissions.
and it's been their
Coal, you can't-
recipes for a million years. So it's just, how do you feel about that whole?
I think it's crazy because every time the city tries to enforce something, it
They're
makes
they're hurting
something else
businesses.
worse.
Well, this could be a
It
different
hurts
show.
small
We're not gonna go
business.
into that.
True.
Yeah.
You're hurting small business, and it's been like this all these years. You're going to make these people change their way of life. These guys are in business 100 years. You're going to tell them they have to change their ovens. People are very finicky. When we change the tile, they're going, pizza tastes different. I'm like, same ovens. What are you talking about? But people mentally,
Yeah.
if you change one thing,
100%.
they think everything
Sometimes
changes.
news not better either. You
No.
know? And to Marcello's point, I think the city should be focusing on some other things right now, not freaking pizza.
Yeah, there's
ovens.
a lot of
There's a
things
lot
I
of
think we
things.
could focus
There's a
on.
lot
So,
of
all right,
things.
so you go to Jersey, you realize that's like, it seems like the moment from like the Matrix. Everything just comes together.
That's it.
So you open that store, and then you say, I'm going to open another store and another store. And like, how does that?
So the
all
problem with that is spreading yourself too thin.
Right.
So
You
that's
gotta go to
why
franchise.
So these
I looked into
franchises,
franchise.
or do you own all
So
these?
California's a franchise and Manhattan's a franchise.
So you provide the dough and everything.
We get them all our closed items that we buy.
Take a marketing
We teach them how to
percentage.
do it. I basically hold their hand. In Manhattan, I was up there 3-4 months.
Wow.
To make sure it's perfect because it is the name, and there is some kind of expectation from us. And I look for the right operator. We've had hundreds of people ask, we want to open. We have money. I don't need their money. I need a family that's going to run it. Like my friend Joey that's in Manhattan that took that franchise. His family's there. His kids are there. It's just like we do in Staten Island and
Yeah.
in Jersey.
That's a good point.
California, these guys, they're running it with their families.
How did California approach you?
So he grew up in Staten Island, Greg Leone.
Oh, really?
And he started an ice, Leone's Ices out there.
Okay.
And he says, I would love to have Danino's next door. And one of his good friends was looking to do it with a family member. And then COVID hit. The family member backed up. And Greg's like, I'm not letting this go. I'll go partners with you. So they opened. And, they did it. But California is, so you think out here is crazy.
Oh,
California
yeah.
is worse. Like they weren't allowed to have any indoor seating because they were getting permits during COVID. So now we're fighting to get indoor seating
God.
and change it. We had to close in some of the outdoor. Their next location will be full bar. It'll
Oh,
be
they're
like
opening another
7.
location.
They're going to open a few. He wants Southern California. So
So how many Daninos will we see in the next 5 years?
hopefully 3, 4. I take it slow. This way I can stay there myself. I'd love to do Florida next.
Florida's a good one.
And I'm only going warm, nice places.
Yes.
There's not a lot of, people say Florida has good pizza. I haven't found it.
There's 2 good places in Florida that I've had.
Sicilian oven.
Okay, I haven't had Sicilian oven,
But that's the name that always pops up.
but I've heard
Yeah.
I've heard it's good. But I've had 2 places. One is called How You Doin'. Okay,
Been hearing that a
it's
lot
a
lately.
it's a Neapolitan style pie.
Yep.
And I actually am a New York style pizza guy. This type of pizza is my perfect pizza. L'Industrie, one of my favorite pizzas. Like those type of pizzas, New York style. How You Doin's Neapolitan. Excellent ingredients, really well cooked. And then there's a New Haven style pizza place, which you might have heard of. I think it's called A Beats.
I saw that
It's
too.
in Delray. So those are the only 2 I would even. I literally, and I'm admittedly a pizza snob. We have so much pizza in New York, I don't have to have bad pizza. I could
Yeah.
choose to have good pizza, which is what I have. So like when I'm in Florida and someone's like, "Oh, you want to get pizza?" I'm like, "No." Like, why would I want to get? If
Yeah.
we're gonna go somewhere, like let's go here. So that's definitely a good market for you.
Yeah.
So, Mike, the pizza guy listening at home that maybe wants to get a Danino's, is there availability? Can he contact you?
Yeah,
Are you
definitely.
interested
They
in
can go on
doing other
email.
franchises?
They go on the site, Daninos.com, and there's a franchise button. Just fill out application or call and leave a message, and we'll get
Maybe
back
for
to
you, Jeremy.
It's good to know.
There you
Yeah,
go.
You're in a different part of the state.
it's true.
Maybe bring Danino's there. You have extra time.
Yeah, right. I don't know if I'm the best partner right now. All right, so now let's get into obviously Island Auto Group which Marcello owns. Let's get into some car buying experiences for you because I'm just curious. Obviously, there's a couple great stories about you and cars in general. one, let's just get this one real quick. Mike and I sit on the committee of Kids for Kids, which is an incredible charity. We've raised over, what, $15 million now for
Let's shout
St.
out
Jude's.
Kids for Kids for sure.
Yeah. And we have an outing coming up at Due Process. And was it at Due Process or Glen Oaks where you won?
No, it was the cornhole tournament.
Oh, it was the cornhole. That's where it was.
Yeah.
So let's
Right,
tell
so you
us.
didn't actually get a hole in one. I just want to be clear.
No.
You got a
no.
cornhole.
Because I was
one.
super impressed when you started with that story.
No.
Because, like, I played golf
Yeah, was it
and
the
I've
golf?
never come close. I mean, now, Jeremy, I don't know if you know. Jeremy's a real golfer. No, like, single-digit
Scratch?
handicap. No,
One.
he's a real golfer. He's like a one handicap.
Right.
I mean, he plays a lot of golf, but he's a single-digit handicap. Like, I don't know, like, if he played with us, it would probably not end well.
Yeah, I have one hole in one. There was no car on.
Do you have a hole in?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yes.
Where?
I had it in New Jersey, down by the shore house.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
So-
no car involved though.
So at the cornhole tournament, what happened? I don't even. I think I
I
was
never
there.
heard I never heard a car being.
I think I was there.
At a cornhole. I want to go to
So
this.
we
place.
do like the whole
Oh, it
year.
was
we
the
sold
auction. That's
tickets.
what it was.
We sold
The
tickets
raffle
for, like,
tickets.
the whole year.
Yes.
And I bought them online. I mentally, I
You
always
probably
said, you
paid
buy
for
them
the,
online.
you probably
you know.
paid for the car already.
No, I only $1,500 I spent.
That's
in
all.
tickets,
What?
right?
Wow.
And they called my name. I thought they were breaking my chops. They're like, "No, you won."
And you
Fell
won
on
what?
the floor,
A
and I'm
Wrangler,
laughing.
right?
Oh, I went tricked out Jeep Wrangler.
Wow,
They had
that's
everything
cool.
on it. Yeah.
What did you end up doing with it? You still have it?
So my son, it was his car. He had just got his license, and it was sliding a little in the rain with the big tires. He didn't feel safe, so we swapped it for an Audi for him.
Okay.
Hey,
safe car.
Free car.
You
either
wanted
way.
that Quattro.
That's
Free
it.
car.
So
Okay, amazing. So then, in terms of like your car buying experiences, I mean, what as a consumer, do you look for something specific when you're buying cars? I mean, is
two things:
yeah, okay.
ease
Yeah,
and service. So Marcello hit it out of the park because I didn't have to come out of my house. I called him, told him what I wanted. I never left the house. They brought the papers, signed it, dropped the keys off, done. You can't get any easier than that. Like nobody
Well,
has service
the
like
story
that.
takes a turn, which
Yeah.
Mike may not want to say. So
and what car was it, by the way?
The Jeep Cherokee, Grand Cherokee.
Grand Cherokee. So Mike, great guy, called me up, said, "Hey, I want a car." I got Greg and Max involved, and they gave him the great experience. But unfortunately, we don't always build the cars, and things go wrong. And Mike called me. I think I got a Saturday afternoon, and I'm like, "This is not a good call." And he's like, "The car won't come out of gear. It won't do this. It won't do that." And things happen. I mean, with consumers, Mike, you run a big business. It's not always perfect.
Yeah.
And I always say,
Pie
it's
gets
not,
burnt.
yeah, but but it can happen, right?
Right.
Because, Mike's one person. He's got hundreds of people working for him.
Mm-hmm.
We don't produce the cars, but I always say it's what happens after the fact,
Exactly.
right?
What's
like
the
here we
next
are,
step?
right? The pizza comes out wrong. It happens.
Yeah, sure.
Like what happens now? And I'm sure Mike can tell you a million stories about his employees stepping up and doing the right thing. So, Mike called me up, and what did we do, Mike?
He says, "I'm going to send you a new car." I'm like, no, just fix it. He's like, "No." Sends a brand new car. The next year, next model, he goes, "I got it." Nothing. And I'm
Wow.
like, no, I felt bad. I actually felt bad because I know it wasn't his fault. It came from the factory, and it was just something that it wasn't. They tried twice with the suspension, and it was just something that couldn't
Were
be
you
fixed.
able to like lemon law that car?
No, we just bought it back. But and I want to be clear. It's not, listen, Mike's a friend, and obviously, but we do that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole, people say, "Oh, I buy from a dealership." We're the producer, right? So we have a lot, unfortunately, cars break.
Sure.
It's just the way it is. We sell
It's a mechanical piece of
we sell
machinery.
20,000+ cars a year. There's going to be a few that just, they break.
Yeah.
And, as a consumer, I know what it's like. Like, I don't want to get a car that now I paid $50,000-$60,000 for, and now I got to worry, is the suspension going to go again? It's an uneasy feeling. So, Mike's story is one that doesn't happen often, but when it does, we try to step up and do the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, Island, just from my experience,
You're a paid endorser.
it's true, but I'm just being serious. I've never seen a situation on the back end where immediately one of the top tier guys, it could be Marcello or Josh or Adam or Mike, don't step in. I'm talking about immediate, within the hour, and we're handling this, we're taking care of it, right? There's a lot of angry customers. People get Yelp muscles and this and that, and go on Google and do this and that. I've never seen one instance truly where they don't at least try to remedy the situation. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes people are too mad. Sometimes the
Jeremy,
situation.
you mentioned Google. I'd love to get Mike's opinion. As a small business
Sure.
owner, I mean, is Google the worst? Because I always say, like, I go to a restaurant.
Yelp has to be worse for you.
Yelp is the
Yep.
worst.
Yelp. I've gotten in major fights with Yelp when I used to
have a
represent
restaurant
restaurants.
rule. Like when
Yeah.
I go to a restaurant, I certainly look at reviews sometimes, but I always take those couple of and I eliminate them because I'm like,
No.
then I look
Yes.
this guy's reviewed 10 other businesses
Yes.
and they've all been bad.
negative.
Exactly.
And I'm like, but how do you deal with that? Because we deal with it, and it's frustrating because it's my name like it is your name. I mean, Danino's, whether it's your last name or not, they know Mike Burke and Danino's go together. How do you deal with that? Like, how do you?
So it's tough because, especially when you start a new business, like when we started in Brick, it wasn't so much that they didn't like the food. They didn't like New Yorkers. They would call us Benny's. Benny, go home.
That's what they would call you?
Bayonne, Elizabeth, Newark, New Jersey.
Oh, is that a thing?
Addison.
See, I didn't even know
so
that.
it's
No, I got that, Benny. Go
they
home.
don't want
Wow.
they don't want you down
I
there.
kinda
But
like
now
it.
they love us, right? But it was hard. They were writing reviews. Benny's, this had nothing to do with the business, but they're giving us 1 star.
So annoying.
So you
And
you
then you
fight with
try to
Yelp,
speak to Yelp.
and Yelp has, I think, 95 class action suits.
Yes.
For basically, they're calling it extortion.
Yeah.
Because if you don't advertise with them,
Yes. Right.
they keep the bad ones up and take your good ones down. But in Staten Island, we're around 100 years now. We have 20,000 5-star reviews. Like our numbers up there. We do get things happen. I try to reach out to someone that didn't have a good experience.
Do you reply to them yourself?
I do myself, because I don't want someone else doing it in case they say the wrong thing. At least I can take the blame. But then, like you said, you look at their other reviews. Some people are just looking for something for nothing or just love to complain.
Yes.
So those people you either ignore or, if I'm in a bad mood, I go back at them. I should.
It's funny too because
I've become very good at.
I know
not.
it's.
I'm an expert because it gets. You take it personally. And
You
I
do.
know for you, you're passionate about what you're doing, and we're passionate about what we do, and it's definitely hard. But I think we do something where we have, and Jeremy's a part of it. We have a contact the owner email, and people contact us, and they're shocked when I call, and I'm like, hey, this is Marcello, and they're like, what? I'm like, well, you put contact the owner because we care about like what people think, and you can't listen when you have a lot of employees like you do and I do. It doesn't always go right. It's just
100%.
It's the reality of it. But
and they can sink a new business. Like
So Yelp-
people said they came in and they were, oh my God, this is amazing. We weren't going to come in because of the reviews because we were so new. And that's the problem.
I have seen. So Yelp is literally one of the reasons. I only used to have hospitality clients. I had a lot of them like 7-8 years ago, and then Yelp is legitimately one of the reasons I stopped taking hospitality clients. I couldn't take that whole part of it anymore because they would get crushed on the dumbest things in the world. Oh, I went to the bathroom. There were 2 people waiting ahead of me. Stuff like that. Oh, I walked in and
somebody left the toilet seat up.
Exactly. Like things you can't control. Like
crazy.
you just said. Oh, these guys just don't know what they're doing. And like meanwhile, the food is great, the service is awesome, but they just want to hate on you.
Yeah.
And like they got to a point where I would get in so many fights with Yelp and this and that. I was doing a ton to market the businesses, and then 3 idiots would honestly ruin the. You could actually, truly believe, if you have bad reviews on Yelp, it can sink your entire business
for
in
restaurants,
hospitality.
especially
Definitely.
like in the food industry.
100%.
I mean, I'm different. Like I said, I eliminate the bad ones
Right.
because I'm in business and I know. But I feel bad. Like I would never leave a bad review. You would have to basically do the worst thing to me ever.
And sometimes they're not even true statements, and you can't fight them.
cannot
they
fight
don't
'em.
take it down. There's no way to prove it, and that's what people see out there.
Yes.
My
gotta
brother's good at.
Got to be a better system.
Don't even look.
Yeah. But that's funny. So it's just real quick to hit on this. I mean, when you've responded, have you ever like got into them? Like,
we've gone back and forth.
I'm sorry that our pizza was so good that they took extra
Yeah.
3 minutes. Like, have you done stuff?
We've gone back and forth, and I'm like, it's pretty funny because I remember the table you were sitting at. There wasn't one piece of food on the tray, but you said it was unedible. How is that possible?
That's awesome. Wow. Okay. Cool.
I mean, I have the secret question. Like,
Yeah.
how many pizzas a day is Danino's churning out? Like Friday night, like it's got to be in the thousands.
No, I wish.
It's not in the thousands.
I would be retired.
Oh my god! I've been there.
I would-
Like
guess
Good
a Friday
Friday is
night,
like a
600-700?
Yeah, like a Good Friday.
That's what I was guessing.
But yeah, because we have other food now too.
Right.
So if it was just pizza, yeah, we probably could. I think Joe and Pat's because
So
their
you said
delivery
no
is
delivery.
huge.
You said no delivery.
So we do
DoorDash?
Uber Eats and DoorDash. Now we started right before the pandemic, thank God, because that's what got us through. Otherwise we really didn't do delivery before that. And then I came to we always said we don't want it to go out not quality, but they're going to order from somewhere else because they're not coming out of the house. So we said,
Right.
why lose that portion of the business? So we started delivering. We still do it. I don't love it.
Yeah, you don't like to compromise the integrity of the product.
Exactly.
Right.
And you don't, when these guys deliver, you don't know if they go on 3.
That's the whole thing too, and that's another thing you can't control. Like let's just say somebody delivers a pie. It's an Uber driver, this and that. A piece can be taken. Like it literally does happen.
Yep.
You can't.
They
control
leave a piece out.
Yes.
The guy smokes, and the food comes in. The bag smells like smoke. It's,
right. It's
it's
things that you want to be able to control.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. How much do you eat pizza every day?
No.
Okay.
No, I try not to. If I'm starving, I'll grab a slice.
Let me tell everybody out here an underrated item at Danino's: buffalo calamari.
The buffalo calamari.
That is amazing.
Yeah, we do a lot of calamari and a lot of wings.
Really? Yeah, the wings are good too.
Yeah, we get them from Belfiore's. We get all our meat fresh every day from Belfiore's.
Wow.
You see, I argue with my kids about this. I'm a pizza purist. Like my kids will order Hawaiian pie or something,
No,
and
I
I'm
can't do
like,
that.
the only thing you should put on pizza is maybe pepperoni, maybe sausage. Like I'm a pizza purist, but my kids are like
Same.
the type of pizza they order. I'm like, it's
You're not
pizza.
even at that point. You're not even eating pizza.
Right.
You're
It's
eating a
funny
meal
you
on
said
dough.
Hawaiian pie because we went out to California. And they're like, can you put pineapple? I'm like, I will knock you out before I put pineapple on my pizza. I said, you want to bring your own can and put it on yourself? God bless you. I'm not putting it on.
I'm totally with that. By the way, whenever I go to a place, I get the plain pie, and then every once in a while I get like a jalapeno pepperoni, something like that. Nothing crazy.
Do a lot of vodka pies too.
Yeah, vodka's
People
a
like
great
it.
one too.
That's a real pizza.
Right,
But
it's
when
a
I
real
start
pizza.
seeing like buffalo chicken pizza,
Even like some
does
pizzas.
chicken and sauce go together?
No,
These kids
like-
put buffalo on everything.
Everything.
Right, I mean-
You got buffalo Skittles.
I
So
feel
we're
like-
doing Farrell. We're doing the food at Monsignor Farrell now.
Oh, you are?
These kids dip everything.
Yeah.
They're dipping
Buffalo
spicy
ranch.
mayo,
Yeah.
buffalo sauce. They're putting it on their bowls.
See, I feel like the guy who started Buffalo Pizza had bad pizza.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he's like, my pizza's
It's
not
a
that
masker.
good,
It's a
mask.
so I'm going to
the
throw
taste.
buffalo on it.
That's it.
And it's going to hide it. That's how I feel. Like, if
That's
you got
amazing.
good pizza, let the pizza be
Agreed.
good
It's
pizza.
like the lady
A good
from
pizza should speak for
Frank's Red
itself.
Hot. I put that
Yeah,
on
exactly.
everything.
You can say it.
I
Exactly.
put that shit on everything.
Yeah.
So, obviously, Danino's very successful business, started franchising, right? Is there an end goal here? Like, are you out? Is there something that you want to accomplish before you call it quits, just like yourself, or are you looking to keep it going forever?
All depends on the kids.
Yeah.
If my son wants to take over, the Staten Island one, you can never start a business 100 years again. So that's got to go on forever. If he wants to take it or go into the franchise part of it. But, enough where I can still support, make sure my sisters take care of, my mother's taken care of, our families are all taken care of, then that'll be enough. But it's hard. Everything's more money and labor is to run a business now. To start a business now, I think someone would be insane in the tri-state area because it's just so hard and it feels like everything's uphill because the government's against you. Everybody's got their hand in your pocket.
Yep.
Prices, labor, it's horrible. And we're just lucky. I have
It gets
5
defeating.
guys that are with me 32 years.
Really?
Yeah, but then you see, I say the same thing, but then you worry about what happens when those 5 guys go.
That's
Like,
it.
you just can't replace them. I mean, we deal with it. We've several hundred people that work for us, and, listen, minimum wage, extra insurances, it's getting tough to be a business, especially in the boroughs.
Yeah, for
in
sure.
New York City, it's tough to be a business, and now it started to hit me because, like, I drive up and down Highland every day, and I'm starting to see more and more empty businesses.
Yeah.
And for me as a small business, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
we started our business for 1 store and grew it to 20, but it's just heartbreaking to see that. And it's great that we have iconic brands like Danino's here on the island.
I mean, I think there's one thing that like a Danino's and Island Auto Group, have in common, which is, you really can't be replaced by online retailers, right? You can't go online and order Danino's. Like, it just doesn't exist. The place is there, right? You can't, and same with an auto group or auto dealerships. You can't really be placed with online. Sure, there's the Carvanas of the world and this and that, but like, these brick and mortar businesses will have to exist forever. And for all of our sake, I hope Island and Danino's does both of that. So I hope you're going nowhere soon.
That's it.
This has been great though. It's a really good talk. Anything else you want to let people know?
No, just support the small local businesses, especially in Staten Island, because we all take care of each other. We all shop around in each other's businesses, and I think that's the greatest part of our community out here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna keep that in mind too when I'm out here. Marcello, anything from you?
No, I mean, Mike, thanks for being with us, and I feel the same way. We just have to support Staten Island. Like, for us, we support a lot of charities, but we have one rule. If it's not on Staten Island, we can't support it because we want to support the people in our backyard that are the consumers that are coming to us every day and allowing my family, to
Sure.
live. We want to give back to those people, so we appreciate that.
Okay. Well, in the next episode, we'll talk about protests.
Yeah, I'm not going to be a part of that. No, I'm out.
I'll be working that day, unlike the protesters.
Exactly.
Right. All right, Mike. Marcello,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
guys.
much.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Jeremy.